China's Goths protest after woman told to remove distressing makeup on subway. So Goths are being targeted in China.
Fucking China's gone too far, man.
I didn't know there were Goths in China.
Well, apparently there are. Here's one right here. China's
pretty hot, actually.
Yeah, China's Goth community have united in an online protest after a woman was ordered to remove her dramatic makeup before being allowed on a subway to avoid distressing her fellow passengers. In a post on Chinese social media site Weibo, the woman, who remains unnamed, recounted how subway security in the southern city of Guangzhou had stopped her from traveling because of her heavy eye makeup and dark lipstick.
Can't have that.
Damn.
Writing on Weibo, the woman recounted how a female security guard called her manager and said my makeup was problematic and really horrible before telling her to remove it if she wanted to get on the subway.
You know what that was, dude? She thought she looked good like that. She's like, fuck this, she can't look better than me. Take that shit off.
Yeah, she was mad because she has to look like a normal Chinese chick and not a hot Gothland.
Yeah, as a Chinese citizen, I'm hoping to use this relatively public platform to challenge the authorities. What laws grant you the right to stop me and waste my time, she wrote in a post, according to a report by Chinese news website.
Lock this one in the gulag. Put this one in the gulag. She needs re-education.
Well, look at this. I mean, this is an aside, but just I saw the other article. Chinese parents storm primary school in rotten food row.
You want to read it? Let's go. You can
What
go check
the
it out.
fuck
if you
is
want.
up with China,
You go down
dude?
to China hole.
Moldy meat.
Moldy meat found after children experience breathing problems and stomach pains.
Oh yeah, dude.
Hundreds of parents have stormed a primary school in southwestern China after learning their children were being fed rotten food, clashing with riot police and refusing to leave.
Damn.
You know, that's the difference between China and America, man. Because in America, there wouldn't have been, the parents would have got upset, but we
We're
wouldn't
pussies here.
We wouldn't have
"I'm
stormed
going to
the school.
sue.
It'd have been
I'm
like
gonna
a
sue
letter
that
writing
school.
campaign or some bullshit.
I'm gonna make a Facebook post right now. This is what my child was served. You know what? Get a baseball bat and get the other parents together and go storm fucking City Hall. Maybe shit would get done around here if we acted more like Chinese people when they tried to trample on us.
I guess so.
Yeah. Every once in a while you get run over by a tank, but
dude, anytime somebody comes to fucking social media to complain about something that happened to them, I just want to fucking I don't know, dude. I want to launch the nukes, and like every time I think it's a nukeable offense.
I knew this one guy who he didn't get his couch from IKEA, and he just bitched for weeks and weeks, and
yeah, just constant bitching. What a piece of shit he was.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, it's true. I wish I could go back and take back my IKEA meltdown because I don't think it got me my couch any earlier. So,
No, it didn't.
It was really not a point to it.
That couch sucked anyway too. But yeah, I mean, China's a weird country. I'd like to visit China one day, maybe see what it's all about.
Really?
You'll be killed.
You want to eat some moldy meat and get stopped in the fucking subway because your countenance
for my goth
is gonna...
makeup.
Are you gonna eat that the gutter soup, dude?
Yeah,
Whatever it's called,
yum.
like the gutter.
I want to
oil?
try some of those Chinese black market cigarettes with rat feces in them.
Oh yeah.
Canada's oldest rape crisis center stripped of city funding for refusing to accept trans women. In a statement, Vancouver Rape Relief said they were the victim of discrimination against women in the name of inclusion. Yeah. Vancouver Rape Relief and Women's Shelter, Canada's oldest rape crisis center, has been stripped of city funding after refusing to rescind its policy of only serving female-born women. In a statement, the organization said they were the victim of discrimination against women in the name of inclusion and accused Vancouver City Council of trying to coerce us to change our position.
That's exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the measure was cheered by activists who have long singled out Vancouver Rape Relief as a bastion of trans exclusionary behavior. I don't understand how a shelter or a rape crisis center can discriminate against anybody if it's going to have state funding.
Why would it?
I mean, men get raped.
Well,
boys get raped.
This is probably traditionally a women's shelter.
So what?
So the controversy is that there are people that weren't born women.
Right. I think they should serve men and boys too, though.
Well, yeah, I absolutely. But it's a cost-benefit conversation that needs to be had here. Take all the emotion out of it, and let's just talk about it. Right? Like there are men that are born biologically male that live, appear, and go about all of their business as females.
like Scottina.
They're raped at an alarming rate, actually,
shit,
at a much higher rate than biologically born females. Trans men are they have some of the highest rape rates per capita
Right.
of anybody.
Murder rates,
And you have a
too.
center for people who are raped. So you have a person who's living their entire life as a woman who is raped that you are going to deny counseling and shelter after that rape because of the arbitrary piece of fucking wedding tackle that may or may not still be hanging between her legs.
Yeah, it should just be about helping people. It shouldn't really be necessarily about.
It's such a heartless fucking position, you know. Like these are, and I love trans trenders are a thing, and I really think that they should be pushed to the margins and made fun of for what they do, because they really do diminish the suffering. If you've ever known a trans person in real life, you know that it is not something that anybody would choose.
So the city of Vancouver's money represents only $33,972 of the Vancouver Rape Relief's more than $1 million per year budget. So that's pretty much a drop in the bucket.
I mean, that's still a
city-
decent chunk of the budget. So
The city of Vancouver money was used for educational outreach programs, which Vancouver Rape Relief said were free and accessible to and available to everyone, including trans people. So, founded in 1974, the Vancouver Rape Relief has long attracted fierce criticism for refusing to admit trans women into its core services, such as peer counseling sessions, shelters, and transition homes.
based on what?
So, I mean, what is the thing I haven't seen here is what's the auspices for their denying them?
Probably a bunch of turf bullshit.
Here's
You know the turfs, right?
Yeah. Trans exclusionary
radical
rad fem.
feminists.
Yeah.
Who
I
think
think-
that they basically view trans women as being like they're trying to like steal our woman power or whatever the fuck.
That's what you think it's about?
I think internally, and I might be wrong about this, but if I had to guess at what their rationalization for this is that there are real women out there that need these beds, and to have men come in and take a bed and a slot at the services and food and shelter when there could be a woman that would need that bed come along.
You can say they were biologically born a man, but they've lived their lives and identified in a totally different
Well, that's
way.
why it's
So
a bullshit argument.
Well, that's why.
But I can almost guarantee.
But that's why they're
what it
going
is.
there for help, though, because that's what they
It's
feel.
like we're a shelter, we're a non-for-profit. We have a limited number of beds and a limited number of seats at the services, and this is a women's place for rape and having a man take that seat.
Here's a little bit more on their objections.
Okay.
So here's a tweet. I'm disgusted by people celebrating Vancouver Rape Relief being defunded like it's a political victory. Countless vulnerable women are at risk of being left without support. They have $1 million budget and the budget was cut $33,000. That's not.
It definitely affects the
No
budget,
one's getting
sure,
left
but-
on the streets because of that. Men are strictly banned from spaces operated by Vancouver Rape Relief, and the organization has previously argued that their clients, all of whom are recovering from male violence, do not feel comfortable while in the presence of someone who used to live as a man. Even deep voices, male insignia like baseball caps and boots can make women nervous, wrote Lee.
And I can empathize with that. But this is a failing of their internal structure, not a failing of society as a whole. If there's a woman that's uncomfortable being in the presence of somebody with manly features like a deeper voice or a baseball cap, then that woman's needs should be accommodated by the shelter. Not to the exclusion of a trans woman that might have been raped that needs the shelter. Split up your groups. You know what I mean? Put women that are very sensitive to that stuff in their own group where there's only women.
So anyway, that's that story. Pretty interesting. Fuck Canada.
Well, how do you feel about it, TJ? You didn't take a stand either way on this. You've been tight-lipped this whole time.
I didn't
let
take
me take all the goddamn slings and arrows for my position.
It could be good.
TJ.
It could be bad. I don't really know.
I don't know.
It's the Paul show. I don't know. I don't have no opinion, Paul.
I don't know.
I don't have no opinion.
Well,
My opinion is that I don't believe that such an organization should exist. I don't believe that I also don't agree with your idea that people need to. Well, you're uncomfortable in the presence of this or that or whatever. That's like. I'm a racist. I'm uncomfortable around black people, so please keep them away from me.
That's
Bullshit.
different.
No, it's not.
different.
No, it's
yes,
not.
it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. Not to me.
A woman who has been systematically abused.
Well, what if
by
I was attacked by a black man one point and I have traumatic memories? So it's okay to be a racist then? No. Fuck that.
Well, I was attacked
over
by
it.
black dudes, and I stayed away from black people and had a lot of racist thoughts afterwards. I
Right.
think it's an absolutely normal part
And
of human psychology
maybe,
when
but-
you're abused by somebody.
Fine, but it would have been wise for them to just be like, well, we'll just keep black people away from you, Paul, because it makes you uncomfortable.
No, but
Take
would
people out
have
of
been
their comfort
wise of
zone.
them to fill my fucking therapy sessions filled with black people too?
I don't think anyone is present during a therapy session unless it's a group therapy session.
That's exactly what I went to. Would it have been wise of them to
I don't think-
intentionally expose me
So
to
let's
the
say
people
that
I was afraid of?
Let's say there's a black person who's a victim of crime. You don't
Uh-huh.
think they should be allowed in the same therapy session as you because you're scared of black people?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on therapy is not black and white. Like if I have like and I didn't have like a hardcore phobia of black people where I was running for the hills if I saw one.
Yeah, whatever, Ku Klux Klan member, Paul.
I'm just saying, like, my therapy wouldn't have required that probably, but if somebody was systematically abused by a black person and and you're trying to desensitize to them to those feelings, which are obviously wrong. Not all black people are that way. Mm-hmm. I don't think that throwing them in a fucking group and exposing them, like, they're not gonna be as open as they would be normally. And I can see that same thing applied to the women in this case. You have a woman that was abused by a man systematically for months or years, and then you're going to throw her in a fucking session with a bunch of men and expect her to be as open as she would be with other women.
We don't really know how the shelter or the center is run, so I can't really speak to, how that would actually play out, but I mean, look, I understand some people could be uncomfortable with it, but at the same time, it seems like the greater benefit is to allow everyone in the shelter and make accommodations to people if they feel uncomfortable about
I just think that
being trans.
I think the existence of a place like this once again propagates this delusional bullshit notion, and it creates an artificial divide where it says men are the abusers, women are the abused. It's not always the case. It's not even remotely close to being always the case. It's pretty much tit for tat.
You definitely saw
There
that in
needs
the
to be-
signs, though. Those women were holding in the picture. They were saying "killed by her ex-husband," "killed by her husband." I mean, a lot of men. Men could hold the signs of women saying "killed by his wife," "killed by daughter," "killed by whoever.
I mean, what about the psychological principle that women have a different kind of connection with other women than they do with men? Because
I don't think that's invalid to say.
that sexual precept isn't there. We're talking about straight women here, obviously, but we're like a woman going out with her friends who are also women.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is going to be a certain way.
A different group
They're going to have
dynamic.
They're going to have a certain familiarity and a certain comfortability with that group
I agree.
because they're also women and they have similar experiences.
That's a social setting. So yeah.
Right. So you in therapy, you're obviously going to play towards that feeling if you want a person to be open and honest about their feelings, right?
Well,
and
if
so
you
putting
really-
a man in that, there are women out there that go to seek therapy for being raped that
Right.
don't want to have a male
Well,
therapist.
Sure.
if you're that far gone, then you need one-on-one counseling. You don't need to be in a group therapy.
Yeah, I
session.
mean,
That's absolutely not true either. Having other fucking people around that have similar experiences to you is one of the most profoundly helpful things that you can do.
Right.
Getting survivors
but
of
what,
traumatic
don't you think it would be helpful
events.
for them to see that there are
but how do you not be
trans women who've had the same experience?
but
Maybe at some point,
that it
How
would
do
be
you not be
helpful for them.
exclusionary at that point?
Yeah.
Though?
maybe at some point in their therapy that becomes, and we're talking about a small subset of people here, but a person who is uncomfortable being around men because they've been profoundly abused by men and isn't going to open up and be more receptive to therapy if there's men involved needs to be in a group of like-minded people.
I don't know. I just feel like it's coddle culture at that point.